Hello friends, in our previous discussion we talked about digital audio, MIDI and their use in various multimedia applications. So now we move forward and continue our discussion on audio file formats and cite the considerations involved in managing audio files and integrating them into multimedia projects. So we start our discussion with audio file formats. When you create multimedia, it is likely that you will deal with file formats and translators of text, sounds, images, animations or digital video clips. A sound files format is simply a recognized methodology for organizing and usually compressing the digitized sounds, data bits and bytes into a data file. The structure of the file must be known before the data can be saved or later loaded into a computer to be edited and or played as sound. The file name extension identifies which method of storage is used. There are many ways to store the bits and bytes that describe a sampled waveform sound. The method used for consumer grade music CDs is linear pulse code modulation, often shortened to PCM. PCM tracks from an audio CD are usually converted and stored on a computer in uncompressed format known as audio interchange file format or WAV format. AIFF is historically used for Macintosh sound files. The WAV format was introduced by Microsoft when Windows was first released. Both formats contain uncompressed sound data, but there are huge numbers of sound file formats that store sound data, and often a converter is required to read or write sound files in the format you need. Who Technologies offer MP3 to a number of file formats as shown. The MP3 format was developed by the Moving Picture Expert Group and evolved during the 1990s into the most common method for storing consumer audio. It incorporates a lossy compression algorithm to save space. An audio CD, for example, may hold an hour of uncompressed PCM sound. The same CD using MP3 compression can store almost 7 hours of same music, but with a slight loss of quality. Windows Media Audio is a proprietary Microsoft format developed to improve MP3. MP4 is a format based on Apple's QuickTime movie container model and is similar to the MOV format, which stores various types of media, particularly time-based streams such as audio and video. The MP4 extension is used when the file streams audio and video together. The M4A extension is used when the file contains only audio data. MP4 files contain only audio but are encrypted for digital rights management. M4R files are used for ringtones on Apple's iPhone. Other GSM mobile phones use 3GP files for their ringtones, a format also based on the MPG container model. The advanced audio coding format, which is part of the MP4 model, was adopted by Apple's iTunes Store, and many music files are commercially available in this format. ACC is the default format for iPod, iPhone, PlayStation and many mobile phones including Motorola, Nokia, Samsung and Sony Ericsson. The SWF format is a container for vector-based graphics, text, video and sound delivered over the internet, typically created using Adobe's Flash. SWF files require a plugin or player to be installed in the user's browser. Adobe claims that the Flash player is installed in more than 98% of browsers and in more than 800 million handsets and mobile devices. Flash video files contain both a video stream and an audio stream, and the FLV format has been adopted by YouTube, Google, Yahoo, BBC.com, CNN.com and other news providers for internet delivery of content. A codec is a software that compresses a stream of audio or video data for storage or transmission and then decompress it for playback. There are many codecs, some are lossy and trade quality for significantly reduced file size and transmission speed. Some are lossless, so original data is never altered. While editing audio files, be sure to save your files using a lossless format. Otherwise, with repetitive saves in a lossy format, you will notice quality degradation each time. Adding sound to your multimedia project. Whether you are working on a Macintosh or in Windows, you will need to follow certain steps to bring an audio recording into your multimedia project. So, in the following discussion, we will be talking about these steps that are mandatory for adding sound into multimedia project. The first step is to determine the file formats that are compatible with your multimedia authoring software and the delivery mediums you will be using for file storage and bandwidth capacity. Also take care of the sound playback capabilities of the end user's system. Decide where and when to use either digital audio or MIDI data. Acquire source material by creating it from scratch or purchasing it. Edit the sounds to fit your project. Test the sounds to be sure they are timed properly with the project's image. When it is time to import your compiled and edited sounds into your project, you will need to know how your particular multimedia software environment handles sound data. Each multimedia authoring program or web browser handles sound a bit differently, but the process is usually straightforward. Just tell your software which file you want to play and when to play it. This is usually handled by an importing process during which you identify the files to play. Scripting languages such as ActionScript for Flash provides a greater level of control over audio playback, but you will need to know about the programming language and environment. While dealing with multimedia audio, one must also consider the space requirements. The substantial amount of digital information required for high quality sound takes up a lot of storage space. It takes about 1.94 MB to store 11 seconds of uncompressed stereo sound. If mono sound is adequate for your project, you can cut your storage space requirement in half or get double the playing time in the same memory space. With compression codecs, you might be able to store the sound in 1/8 the space, but you will lose some fidelity. Further, to conserve space, you can downsample or reduce the number of sample slices you take in a second. Many multimedia developers use 8-bit sample sizes at 22.05 kHz sampling rates because they consider the sound to be good enough and they save immense amount of digital real estate. Audio recording. If your project requires CD quality digitized sound at 44.1 kHz and 16 bits, you should hire a sound studio. High fidelity sound recording is a specialized craft, a skill learned in great part by trial and error, much like photography. If you do decide to do it yourself at CD quality levels, be prepared to invest in an acoustically treated room, high-end amplifiers and recording equipment and expensive microphones. As already discussed, there are many trade-offs involved in making multimedia. For example, if you are satisfied with 22.05 kHz in your project or are constrained to this rate by storage considerations, any consumer grade digital or analog recorder of reasonable quality will do fine. This of course also applies to conversations recorded from the telephone, where a sampling rate of 11.025 kHz is adequate. Digital audio tape provides a tape based 44.1 kHz 16-bit recorder and playback capability. Mobile phones can often record audio, and applications and hardware attachments are available to manage external microphones and file transfer. USB and flash memory recorders range in quality, some suitable for voice only, some generating compressed MP3 files, and some recording in CD quality stereo. Recordings can be directly downloaded as digital files using a USB cable or a card reader. Audio CDs. The method for digitally encoding the high quality CD music is an international standard called ISO 10149. This is also known as the Red Book audio standard, derived simply from the color of the standard's book jacket. Developers of this standard claim that the digital audio sample size and sampling rate of the Red Book audio, which is 16 bits at 44.1 kHz, allows accurate reproduction of all sounds that humans can hear. Until recently, dedicated professional sound studio equipment was used for this high fidelity recording, but today most off-the-shelf computers will record and play 16-bit sampled sound at 44.1 kHz and 48 kHz. Converter and burning software such as Toast and CD Creator from Roxio can translate the digital files of Red Book audio found on consumer compact discs directly into a digital sound file format such as MP3 or WAV. Unlike DVDs, audio CDs do not contain information about artists, titles, or track list of songs, but players such as Apple iTunes and AOL Winamp will automatically link to a database on the internet when you insert a music CD. The precise length of your CD's table of content is then matched against the known table of length for more than 5 million CDs containing more than 60 million songs. When it finds a match, the database service sends back what it knows about the CD you inserted. The database, formerly known as the Compact Disc Database or CDDB, was built up over the years by fans from all over the world submitting information about their favorite CDs. The database is currently maintained by Gracenote Media Recognition Service. Sound for your mobile. Ringtones are perhaps the most widely and often heard sounds in today's world. Unlike plain old telephones where a pulsating 90-volt signal is sent down copper wires to energize a hammer that clangs a bell, there is no bell in digital mobile telephone. When the mobile receives a notice that someone is calling, the unit's software takes over and, depending upon the programmed options, plays the user's choice of ringtone, either generated by the internal MIDI software or played from a stored sound file. Ringtones play on a very small speaker and often compete in a noisy environment. Ringtones aren't the end of it. Answer tones, ringback tones, true tones, real tones, sing tones, video tones, they all have crept into your daily life. Most are for sale for enterprising small and large businesses all over the world. Sound for the internet. There are several methods for playing digital or MIDI sound from a web page. The sound is actually not part of the web page, but it is a separate file with its own address on the internet, which is embedded in the pages. Web browsers associate files with applications and plugins. Figure here shows the preferences panel from Firefox, which lets you specify what to do when the browser downloads a particular file type. Media players are designed to play files as soon as enough of the data is cached into your computer's buffer, a place where data is stored temporarily. The downloading continues to fill the buffer faster than you empty it by playing the sound file, allowing the sound file to stream into your computer in the background, keeping ahead of what has already been played so the playback doesn't pause or break up. Streaming files are dependent upon connection speed. You must wait longer before the streamed sound begins to play when using a dial-up modem than when using a high-speed DSL connection. Adobe's Flash allows you to integrate the soundtracks that you have made using a sound editor into a web-based multimedia presentation, including both event sounds like button clicks and streaming sounds like background music. Because it can read and save MP3 files, Flash offers web designers serious and powerful options for solving the quality issue of high quality files and slow downloads versus low quality files and speedy delivery with nice results. Because it must break a sound into frames so it plays in sync with the timeline. Flash resamples the audio track if you ask it to stream in a movie clip. For the best quality, import an uncompressed audio clip into the Flash library and let Flash do the compression. Testing and evaluation. Putting everything together can be tough, but testing and evaluating what you have done can be even tougher, especially if your project involves a complicated live presentation or if you are shipping a commercial multimedia application. Unless you plan ahead, problems will not emerge until you begin testing. Don't forget to evaluate your sound storage medium. How much RAM does your project need to run effectively? Some authoring and delivery packages will stream sound directly off the hard disk or CD-ROM. Others require the sound to be loaded into the memory from the hard disk before they can play. Sometimes you will need to break a sound or a music file into smaller parts. In the world of professional film and video production, sound is incorporated during post-production after all the film and video footage has been assembled. So give sound the needed treatment as it can make or break your project. Copyright issues. Ownership rights are significant issues for multimedia producers who would love to use a few bars of Sunidhi Chauhan's latest hit or nostalgic background of Kishore Kumar's songs. Producers may rightfully fret about copyrights and permissions. Most developers play it safe by always making their own custom music from scratch in a sound studio or with synthesizers, or by using sounds that have a clear and paid for ownership and permission trail. Others simply take a risk and break the law as more and more multimedia is produced by more and more developers who are hungry for sound content. The copyright of sounds and images has become a major issue. Different licensing arrangements may be required depending upon exactly how you use the music in different types of multimedia programs. As this suggests, music licensing is a specialized and complicated area, so you should make sure you have cleared all the necessary rights before using any music in a product. A number of software vendors have entered the multimedia marketplace by selling digitized clip sounds with an unlimited use royalty-free license. Some of these products include musical clips and some just include sound effects like doors closing, dogs barking and water dripping. But carefully read the licensing terms that come with any collection you purchase. Although the box may claim that the sounds are unlimited use, royalty free, but the fine print inside most likely limits their use to your personal machine and does not include the right to use them in any commercial use or republication in any form that would allow others to obtain them, such as using them on a website. So friends, this brings us to the end of our discussion on audio issues that are to be kept in mind while using sounds in multimedia presentations. During this lecture, we talked about the important steps and considerations in recording and editing digital audio. We discussed that consumer grade audio compact discs are recorded in stereo at a sampling rate of 44.1 kHz and a 16-bit resolution. Other sampling rates include 22.05 and 11 kHz at either 16 or 8 bits. The native sound file format for most Macintosh sound editing softwares are the SND and AIF formats, and most authoring systems will read these formats. In Windows, the native sound file format for most editing software is WAV file. Streaming files begin playing when part of the file has been buffered into the computer's memory and are dependent upon connection speed. Adobe's Flash provides powerful tools for integrating and streaming sounds, including the MP3 format. Apple's QuickTime is a file format that, among other capabilities, enables digital audio to be interleaved with video information. Be sure you understand the implications of using copyrighted material. You are breaking the law if you record and use copyrighted material without first securing the appropriate rights from the owner or publisher. So friends, that's it for today. See you in the next lecture. Thank you very much.